Good morning, folks. Good afternoon, good evening, when or wherever you may be. Now, today we are going to start this video by looking into a little video that I have here from Euronews. A link will be provided in the description so you can go and watch it yourselves. And then we are going to have a little chat about it. So, first, let's watch the video and then let's talk a bit about it.
US President Donald Trump has said he will raise tariffs on cars and trucks from the European Union to 25%. In a social media post, he accused the EU of not complying with a deal agreed last year, which set a tariff for most goods at 15%. The move from the US could now further jolt a global economy that's already rattled by the Iran war. Trump gave no details on what prompted the tariff increase, but the announcement comes at a particularly tense time for relations between the White House and the EU. On Thursday, Trump renewed criticism of German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, telling him to stop interfering over Iran. Germany would likely be hit hard by the increased tariffs, as the country is responsible for a significant amount of EU auto exports. The US leader also referred to European allies Spain and Italy as, quote, absolutely horrible for their refusal to get involved in the Iran war.
First, let's talk about this as it really by classifying it for what it really is. This is a tantrum of a toddler, of a person that is unable to govern his own country, a person that is unable to provide for healthcare and for social care and for economic stability of his own people, a country that has villages, and I'm going to be talking about this. Okay, I'm going to watch some videos with you, and we are going to be talking about this in the future. That has literally villages of homeless people in his major towns. A person that has people living in their cars because they cannot afford to rent a house, or sometimes they have to choose between renting a house or eating. Okay, people with children, people with elderly people, people with sick people, even people with pets. Okay, to me, pet is also important because it's a friend. Not as important as a child, as a person. No, I'm not that type of person. But it's also very important to see and watch this and see people living in such conditions in what is classified as a Western first world country. Well, to me, in my opinion, it's not. They have their entire priorities wrong. I'm not claiming that Europe is perfect. I'm not claiming that we don't have our issues too, because I would be lying if I said such a thing. But the question here is the perspective of the people and of the government, the way we tackle these issues, like for example healthcare, and all of that. So, what is he trying to do, Mr. Trump, if I can call him that? But I will call him that because I don't want to be sweary, and I don't want people to think that I'm just talking badly about their president, like a troll once said in a video of mine. Mr. Trump is trying to put pressure on Europe to do what Europe already said they are not going to do. You want to know what is going to happen? The German government and also the EU is going to provide solutions for our auto companies. They will probably close down more factories inside of the USA. I don't have a figure right now, but they will probably shut down a lot of business they are doing inside of the United States. They will leave. The customers will lose their support. They will pay more for parts, because if the parts are not being provided inside of the country by authorized suppliers, then you are going to have to import them from elsewhere, directly from Europe or from other places like Canada and like Mexico. So the cars, if he's going to put 25% on the cars, you will pay around 50% for a new car. Some people will be able to afford it, other people won't. But if you think those cars, if you think Germany will stop producing cars and not selling it to the United States, no. They will lose money. Have no doubts about it. Of course they will. Because if you already have a contract to supply X number of cars to the American market, and suddenly you know you are going to sell probably with luck, half of those cars into the market because you are in direct competition with other car producers, at first they are going to lose the money. And you want to know what they are going to do after that? They are going to adapt, meaning they are going to sell elsewhere. The United States is an important market, but it was 13% of the world's economy. But Mr. Trump has been doing an excellent job in reducing the percentage of importance of the American economy in the world stage. And countries, they don't stay still, okay? And no European company, no Chinese company, no Canadian company is going to eat the tariffs. No. Tariffs are taxes that you put on your own people. And the quicker people understand this, the better. Because you cannot continue to buy into these lies when you are seeing the practical aspects of it in your daily lives. You are seeing gas is going to get higher. You are seeing all of that. And yet, some of you still sit there, and when they watch a video by someone like me that is speaking sense, that is telling you from the start that I'm not monetized, this video is not monetized, that I'm not talking with bias, I'm just talking about facts all in a European perspective, and you still sit there and then you talk about how tariffs are bringing in money to the country, like how foreign companies are paying to sell in the United States like it was some kind of honor. No, you are a customer. To us, you are a customer. You used to be an ally. But with these constant threats, you are now a threat yourself. And if you think that by electing a democratic government, a democratic president, you will change this suspicion, well, you are sadly mistaken, my friends. Because what this is going to cause is more and more Europe to simply detach our economy from yours, and it will come to a moment where you will want our products, but we will be selling them elsewhere. Why do you think we have trade agreements and strategic geopolitical agreements with Mercosur, with Mexico, with Canada, with Australia, with New Zealand, with Japan, with Korea, with India, with China, with all the questions that will arise, especially with this EU branding that is going to come up, but it will be solved. You want to know why? Because we don't bully people into business. We negotiate. Meaning, I give something, the other part gives something, and we reach an understanding. We understand each other. We understand each other's needs. With Mercosur, it was very hard because we also need to protect our farming. But right now, a meat producer, let's say Brazil, for example, that already had specific business, especially Brazil and Argentina and Uruguay, they already had specific trade agreements with Portugal and Spain. Now they can sell everywhere in Europe. They can sell their beef if it's according to European standards. And right now, in this moment, still, American farmers could do the same. All they had to do, conform with the rules. And is this a notion that you cannot understand? I mean, I have said this often. I have talked about it. I grew up in a business. My parents, they had bakeries. I am the son, the grandson, the great grandson, so far, of bakers and pastisserie makers and all of that. Okay, I learned the trade. I worked in it up until my late 20s. I was almost 30 when I began my work in the line of work that I'm working in today. Okay, but I still know the trade. If I was going to qualify my expertise, I would say I'm a master baker and I'm a junior patisserie maker, meaning as a master baker, I could simply do a test with with proper authorities here. It's kind of a guild of bakers, and I could manage and work a bakery by myself. And as a junior patisserie maker, this means that I'm a professional patisserie maker, but that I would need some kind of proof test in order to be able to work in the business. Because around here, we are pretty specific about these things, okay? You need to know what the hell you are doing. This does not mean that anyone tomorrow can open a bakery, but as for knowing how things are done, knowing the procedures, knowing anything from the regulations and the agreements, not everyone could do it. But let's just stop this little rant, or else I'll be talking about bread and cakes and and all of that the entire day. Now, what is going to happen with all of this shit is that American exporters to Europe, except those that are selling oil and gas, let's and fuel, okay, let's be completely honest about this. Except those, this is going to hit the entire business in the United States that sells into Europe, because we are already boycotting American products. If you don't know this, you should know this. We are avoiding them like the plague. Soon enough, the big brands are going to be hit. They are already being hit. They are already in the red, at least in some countries that I give myself the trouble of looking into. Okay, what brands and I'm talking about? Okay, I'm going to be clear. Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, and all the related products like chips and all of that shit. Okay, McDonald's, I don't know, KFC, all of that, Pizza Hut, all of that. All of those American companies, they are already being hit. And a lot of them are in the red. Because they are, they had a stable business model. Okay, they cannot compete with a lot of things that are inside of Europe, but you open up a KFC in some tourist area in Portugal, or industrial area in Portugal, or in France, or whatever, and you will get the odd number of clients that are just enough to maintain your business model. And around here, they cannot cut on things like employers' wages and rights, because we have minimum wages, monthly minimum wages that have to be livable wages. We have mandatory vacation. Okay, minimum is 22 days. If I don't recall, the minimum right now is 22 days. And these are weekdays. Let's not forget this. Okay, you are not on a vacation on a Saturday or a Sunday or a holiday, so this is Monday to Friday. We have the mandatory contributions to healthcare, social care, and taxes. So they cannot around here they cannot bend the rules and have kids serving up McDonald's at low wages or minimum wages that are either inexistent, they don't exist, or they are so low they are people have to have 3 or 4 jobs in order to even eat. The American business model that Mr. Trump represents is that you cannot live in that way. And to call that, pardon, just a bit of summer allergies, the sun gives me allergies. Uh, that type of business model, it cannot be sustained in long term. Okay, you cannot have, and again, I will tell you this also, we are also having issues here in Europe. Right here in Portugal, we are having issues with housing, for example. But you want to know something? It's going to be solved. Why? Because governments here, they either find solutions or they get revolutions. And I'm not laughing while I'm saying this because it's a very serious thing. But around here, people will start burning up things if the government doesn't find solutions. The new government right here, the new government that has just been sworn in a couple of months ago, it's already under continuous pressure. And if they cannot stand the heat, they will fall. They will fall. That government will fall. Have no problems. We have no doubts about it. And I know a lot of you Americans will think, oh, they are always bickering and that is not a democracy and it's so unstable. No, my friends, it's democracy. This means governments here are kept on check. Yeah, they have a gun constantly pointed at them. They know that if they fuck up, sorry, but I swear, but they know if they fuck up, they're going to get kicked out of business. They will not be able to be the government. They will not be able. Even political parties are driven into extinction here if they are dumb enough to do a bad job. This is something that you don't understand. You don't understand that this instability means democracy is alive. If everyone is nodding their heads like good little servants, you don't have a democracy. You have a bloody state of peasants. In the United States right now, it's a state of peasants. You have a couple of voices screaming out. You have a couple of people protesting, but my friends, that is not how you do it. You need to change things like, for example, that Civil War relic, like the Electoral College or whatever you call that. You have to end that shit. Because right now you have the gerrymandering. You have in the South, they are doing what they have always done. Like, for example, gerrymandering the districts in order to not have a big concentration of, for example, black electors, black voters, sorry, so that their vote will be meaningless in the majority of seats. This way, they guarantee that they will always have more MPs or whatever your deputies or whatever you call them in Congress. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? That is a relic. The UK has the same problem. Proportional representation. with all its issues, is the only true form of democracy. One man or woman, one vote. That's it. Here, it's like this. The party that has the more votes is the party that has the more number of deputies in our parliament. As simple as that. And the party that has the greatest number of elected deputies is the government. It's the party that it's called to to be government. Okay, to have a PM and prime minister and government in the parliament. This forces them to do coalitions. This forces them to discuss different perspectives that are a reflection of the different ideas, different needs of the citizens of the country. This forces them to discuss all of those different ideas in parliament. And it's not something, for example, something like this, a deputy from a smaller party that has only few deputies in the parliament to propose something that is considered good by the majority, and they all voted in. This is not very uncommon. This happens often. You have small parties that propose really good ideas. It's a constructive way of approaching democracy. And sometimes they argue, and sometimes they cannot do anything, and the result is governments fall. And this is normal, and this is natural. What is not natural is for you to have a president that does whatever the hell he wants. Cannot build a ballroom. He's still building it. Cannot attack Iran. He's still attacking it. Cannot impose tariffs. He's still doing it. And this, my friends, is the reason why we here in Europe, we won't trust in it. And you have to understand this, because if you don't, tantrums like this one that I showed you in the video will even cause you more problems. Will it cause issues to us? Well, of course. Will some try to appease him? Well, of course. But you have to understand, at the end of the day, for us, it's all business. And that connection that we used to have as allies and as friends, it's completely being washed away by all of this shit. And that is all I have to say. I hope you liked this video. As I told you before, I'm trying to make shorter videos, and this is what I'm going to try to do in the future, and do a stream this weekend. I will probably try to make a stream this weekend. Today is the 2nd of May, Saturday. I will try to make a video, but let's see how it goes. Try to make a video, try to make a stream, sorry. Folks, I thank you all for watching my video. I ask you to please go to Euronews and watch their videos, and if you want, subscribe to them. And well, if we don't see each other this weekend, have a great weekend. Enjoy.